Hi, this is James Taylor with my wife, here with my wife, Kim. And Joni Mitchell said, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And that's so true. We're remembering Newport Folk Festival in years past, and just missing that it's not happening right across the water there this summer. So it's another COVID casualty, but we miss it. I first played it in 1969, which was pretty much the beginning of my career, a scant 51 years ago. But it was incredible. My brother Hugh gave me a ride to the festival in an old blue school bus with a wood-burning stove in the back of it and a stovepipe sticking out the back window. It was pretty picturesque. But that was such an amazing year because along with a new singer named James Taylor, there was Johnny Cash and June Carter, Muddy Waters, Van Morrison performing one of his first performances in the United States as a solo act. Joni Mitchell was there, the Everly Brothers were there.
Taj Mahal.
Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee, the Jim Kweskin Jug Band, a favorite of mine. You know, it was an amazing weekend, and it always is. And that was some event. I'll never forget it.
Especially what happened in the middle of your set.
Oh yeah, in the middle of my set, George Wein came on stage to announce to the audience that Neil Armstrong had just set foot on the moon. It was a big full moon out in the sky, and we all looked up at the moon and imagined somebody walking on it. But you know, it's a real important part of the music scene. It always has been, and we miss it. What are your memories of the festival?
Well, I came to it, I think, 20 years after you played. I was a relative latecomer because my best friend and her husband, who spent the summer in Newport, kept saying, you have to come to the folk festival. And I finally said, okay, a folk festival. And I was a little bit, or a lot, classical music centered because I worked at Tanglewood, another festival not far from here. But the moment I saw what was unfolding, I was just hooked on it. We went by boat, and there was an armada of every kind of nautical craft, and from big yachts to tiny little skiffs and dinghies.
One boat would anchor, and then about 10 other boats would sort of tie up to that boat, and it was like the surface of the water was all audience sitting on boats.
It was so cool. As well as the esprit de corps, you just sensed everyone was in this together. There was so much collaboration and kindness, which is in short supply today. And it was just a marvel to see. So now it's part of our summer.
It is.
And we can't wait for it to return.
That's right. So we love you, Newport, and we miss you. And come back, and we'll be there when you do.